people switching up, and like it's funny because now, like I said, like I'm getting DMs of like old people like in my life who are like, oh my God, you're killing it, oh my God, when I knew they were in rooms saying bad stuff when I first started. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that's the other side of following your dreams. Like
people are gonna talk shit.
People are gonna talk shit, and nobody's good when you start.
Hey y'all, it's your girl Missy Monoxide coming at you from the heart of Dallas with DTXSTREET sessions. We're all about artistry, stories, and culture, and I'm here to bring you the latest and greatest from the most impressive people in the city. So stay tuned because today I have Tags with me.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Most impressive people. I don't know about all that, but I appreciate it, Missy. Hello.
Dude, that was like one take.
It was.
It was one
I'm
take.
proud.
Y'all, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Tags. Okay, first of all, I want to clarify, what are we going to call you? Because when I try to look you up on like Apple, I have to type in Andres Tagliaferro, right?
You said it right. That's crazy.
I know, I'm Hispanic.
I'm proud.
You know what? I'll take it because I don't say or do a lot of things right.
Even some Hispanics be saying it wrong. It'd be throwing me off, yeah. So I'm saying, good job.
Okay, so like officially, how are you going to name yourself?
Officially, right? My name, I specifically chose Andres Tagliaferro because, like, you know, I feel like there's a certain weight that goes behind having your artist name be your government name, you know what I'm saying? So I just like that, you know? But, you know, people will call me what people call me. A lot of friends call me Tags. That's kind of why I use that in the music, especially rap songs, because I'm like, it's Tags.
I mean, it has like a vibe.
I know.
It's short. Like, I don't think I know any Tags other than you.
That's what I'm saying. But then, like, the other side of it is like my nerdy side is like the SEO of Tags might be a little harder to uniqueify my name, you know?
That's true.
But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, if you want to call me Tags, you call me Tags. If you want to call me Andres, you call me that. But yeah, on Spotify and everything, it's just my full name.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So what inspired you to pursue music and how did you get started in the industry?
Okay, so good question. It's a question a lot of people have had recently because if you knew me a year ago, like you did, it was like, homie's doing music now. What's going on? So for me, I've always been in music. I've always loved doing music. Like I played piano growing up. I was in band in middle school. You know what I'm saying? Like I was in choir in elementary school. So my family is full of musicians. Like my dad's a Latin percussionist. My mom's a singer. My sister is a singer and dancer. My uncle plays guitar. Like it's just deep in my heritage music. So for me, what made me decide to pursue it, right, as somebody who kind of, it was a part of my life. I don't know. It's a lot of things in my life changed about a year ago. Like everything, almost. Like the people I surrounded with, like my work, what I did for a living. And I always felt like scared to really do that for myself. Because, you know, like, who am I to, like, decide, oh, I'm going to put out music and I'm going to, like, write vulnerable shit. You know, like, who am I to do that? I just wasn't confident in myself and I was insecure and, you know, all that. And about a year ago, I just, with the replacement of those negative voices in my life and toxic kind of things around me, I felt confident to be who I really am, like my true self. And, yeah, that's what made me pursue it. It was like there was nothing holding me back anymore. And I feel like a lot of people have those dreams and aspirations that they don't chase because it's not even like a possibility in their head because they're getting in their own way, you know? So yeah, I've been doing music forever, but what made me choose to really do the artist thing and really pursue it was I just stopped caring like what people care, like what people think. And more than that, I became confident. So even if they do have an opinion, I feel strong enough to be like, you're wrong or you're right. Yeah, be a fan. Like, cool. But
what would you credit for the increase in your confidence?
I think it's, I really, I really changed my surrounding, like the people I surround myself with, like completely. Like I'm saying, like damn near lost or cut off 90% of my friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who were those negative voices that even if I didn't say it or they didn't say it, I could feel like anytime I would attempt to do something outside of the realm of what I was portraying myself to be, it was like, are you sure, bro? Like, I don't know. Like, I remember, like, in the pandemic, I started, like, a lot of people don't know this, but in the pandemic, I started a little gaming channel.
What?
I started a gaming channel. I know.
Like, what?
I know. I started a gaming channel. I put, like, 3 videos out, and they were funny. They were good editing. It was, but then, like, the people who I was surrounded, like, they were, like, I caught them laughing at them, like, out of nowhere. And stuff like that, where they were being nice enough to not say it to my face, like, it's intangible things you can feel. So obviously, like, when you just take away people or things, you know, workplaces that are, you know, taking from your energy, it magnifies the energy you do have, I feel like. Yeah. So it was as simple as that.
I definitely feel that. And it's funny that you went through all that and you're my first guest, and I literally just, I guess, overcame my own fear, because I've been wanting to do a talk show or a podcast basically my entire life. And I feel like I've done everything but this. And it's because of the same thing. Like, I'm in my head, I'm like, am I gonna look, you know, a certain way on camera? Am I gonna sound a certain way? Like, people are gonna hate me, people are gonna talk shit about me. And it's like, I guess like you, I finally got to the point where I was like, fuck it, whatever. Like, so what if you hate me? I mean, please don't hate me, but like, you know, I can't control it. And like, people are going to hate you. People are going to love you. And it is what it is. And I just got tired of like watching what I wanted, like, slip further from me. That's real. So that's kind of why I'm like, do you think it's like a thing with 2023? I feel like a lot of people are taking risks, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the you know, the pandemic cleared a bunch of stuff up.
No, and like, honestly, it did throw me off, like when you first like released the song, because it kind of just came out of nowhere. Like, I know we kind of lost touch after like the whole church thing, and then you kind of like came out of the blue and you had music. And like, I'm not gonna lie, at first I was like, wait, did he just cuss? And I was like, weird, I didn't even know how to like feel about it. Like, I didn't even know how to like, I felt about you being a musician. I was like, it was weird. And it took me a little bit, but like, the more like music that you put out, like, I could literally see like just the evolution. Like, you just evolved like really fucking quickly. Like, thank you. And it just got good really fast. And I was like, wait, he's serious. Like, I didn't know if you were serious, if it was just like something you were doing. But then when you did it, I was like, oh shit, like, he's for real. And then we were talking about like how dope you are, and I was like, dude, we have to like, I have to get him on the podcast. I'm like, before he blows up and then he's too cool to come on my show. No. You know, but
I'm always gonna come back to sessions, you know what I'm saying?
Please, like, humble us. So my other question is, you are Venezuelan, right?
Yeah, I am.
Were you born and raised there?
Well, so that's the tricky part. I was born, right? And I was raised there for 5 years. Okay. So, you know,
so kind of. But you're still Venezuelan at heart. Yeah. Okay. And how has your upbringing influenced your music, and how do you incorporate your heritage into your songs?
Oh, I love that question. Yeah, no, I mean, again, like I said, I come from a family of musicians. So in the music side, I grew up listening to, like, you know, salsa, merengue, all that stuff. So
all the good stuff.
Yeah. So that's why, like, when I first moved to the US, like, I was the first one in my family to like rap, you know, like hip hop. Like, I remember like running into an Eminem music video. Funny story. My first like introduction to Eminem was this song called Not Afraid. And it's like in hindsight, it's like the corniest, like,
I fucking hate that song. I'm sorry. Song. I was just about to say.
No, but listen, like, coming from like a family of like a Christian household, I go to my parents, I'm like, yo, no clue about Slim Shady, no clue about any of that. I'm just like, Eminem is this sick, like, empowering rapper, like, and so they didn't know either. So like, oh, Eminem must be like a good guy, and I was like, yeah. Then I found out the other shit. So you hear
songs like Guilty Conscience or Kim.
Oh, Kim goes crazy. But
you're like, he's so wholesome.
No, but when I heard that, no, I went to my family and I'm like, yo, rap is sick, and you know, it was never a big deal. It was just like, oh, he likes rap, whatever. But I think what made me like the genre of hip hop is coming from salsa, where like percussion is a big element in it. I was like, this is cool, and so that inspired it. I feel like I didn't really fall into the like mainstream pop like brand or identity, because like I never really liked that, and I didn't have any cultural backing of that. Like I was never a big like, I don't know, like Radiohead guy or Coldplay. I just wasn't. I will say I had a phase where I was like diehard Linkin Park fan, where it was like
Linkin Park goes hard.
Exactly.
Yeah. R.I.P. Chester Bennington.
Sad day. But
fucking lost, man.
Yeah. Well, in terms of that, like, if you go listen to my song Broken Together, it's like it's a very pop song, but it has like an Afrobeat kick pattern, and it has like a clave pattern for that, like as a hi-hat instead of a hi-hat. Stuff like that kind of Latin Afrobeat pop fusion wouldn't happen if I didn't, you know, come from Venezuela. And now I do, and I've been doing this and working it out like a Spanglish kind of thing. So
yeah, I like that.
Thank you. Yeah. So Te Quiero 2 was the first one I did for Valentine's Day.
That's a dope one. I like that one.
That one was cool. And it was like my first song they got like on like editorial like Spotify playlists. So that was cool. But yeah, doing flows where I'm speaking in English and then going into Spanish like seamlessly, or creating hooks that incorporate both. That's another way I kind of blend both.
So like, how did you end up in the US basically? Was it because I know there's like a lot of political things that are going on in Venezuela. I know it's in like a lot of turmoil. Is that partially the reason why y'all came here? It's
100% the reason. Like my parents, so a little insight about me. My dad is the son of the old commander-in-chief of the Venezuelan army, which is crazy. I know.
What?
Yeah, it's a wild story, but all that means is my grandfather was a part of Venezuela before the disasters and everything that's going on now. In fact, if you know anything about Venezuelan history, you're going to like this. Hugo Chavez, which was the first dictator, was one of my grandfather's lieutenants. So my grandfather was kind of clued into what might occur. And I remember, I guess there was like a conversation or something that was had where, you know, basically my grandfather was like, I don't want any part of this. He retired. He lives like off an island in Venezuela. Damn. And so all of that diplomatic stuff like directly impacted my family, because my dad went from being like a wealthy, like, you know, I remember my dad tells me stories about having a chauffeur and like living in Belgium for months because he was like a diplomat. What? Like to nothing, to having no money, to having to like scrap. And because they had like more inside information of like the political and where the economic state of the world was going, they were like, no, we got to move. We got to get out of here. So I think we were the second part of our like big family that moved to the US. My uncle moved first, and then we moved to Miami. But it was definitely, this was 2004 when we moved to the US.
Damn.
So it was before it got really bad, but it was already starting to get bad, and my parents were smart enough to be like, we gotta leave. So yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's wild.
It's
well,
crazy.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad y'all are okay and everything.
Me too.
So, okay. I know we were talking about how you incorporate your own like style and your flair into your music. How do you balance your bilingualism in your music, and do you see it as an advantage or a challenge?
Well, I balance it by what I said. I think it's cool. It's a very easy differentiator, you know, for me. Like being able to do that allows me to reach a different market. And, you know, I remember when I first started seeing like Bad Bunny blow up, and now he's like the biggest artist in the world, literally. Like
ever.
Like,
I love you, Benito.
My homie.
If he's watching.
But seeing him blow up, I was making music all in English at first. And I was like, you know, like, why am I wasting a part of me that I'm like I can speak Spanish? Like, why not find a blend, you know?
Yeah.
And so I did that. And so that was a big part of it. I just realized like I could reach more people. And like the Latin fan base goes crazy. Like I'd be on my Spotify and I think I find somebody. I'm like, oh, I'm discovering this young artist. Shit. And then I go to the YouTube and they have like 1 billion views on their
no lie videos. Like I think that's when you caught my attention was when I started hearing the Spanglish. I was like, wait, like this is sick. Because awesome. I listen to a lot of like Spanish music and like Bad Bunny and like Ozuna, Anuel, all that.
Ozuna.
Oh yeah, and then but I love that. So I thought it was really cool that you were bringing that into it, which actually jumps right into my next question. How do you handle comparisons to other artists like Bad Bunny, and what do you hope to bring to the music industry that will set you apart from them?
It annoys me, but in a cool way. Because like, okay, so and if you follow me, you know, because I'd be posting about it because it's funny. But every time I post some sort of photo where like I'm wearing a backwards hat, where like my curls are coming out or something, where
you do have mad curly hair.
When I do that, I be getting the same response. Even on like my dating profiles, I be getting like, you look like, and it's annoying, right? Because you gotta understand, I've been following Bad Bunny forever, so I know about his like weird phases where he was like he was not attractive to anybody 10 years ago.
No, I remember. He was right? like chunky, kind of. He was a little chubby, a little soft, you know, and he didn't really have a style yet, like a stylist.
Right.
And then boom. Like
so now, the comparisons have always came because and I'll admit, we do kind of look like our nose and there's parts that I get musically. So with that, I'm like, whatever. It's just annoying because I'm like, no, I'm cooler, like whatever. But musically, I think it's awesome. Like I've just started. So my goal when I first started doing music is how do I get my music like on a production standpoint to be comparable to like a Drake song or to like, you know, major label artists. Cause that's, as an independent artist, that's what you want to be compared to, right? Cause the way it works, when I first started dropping music and the mix wasn't really there and the production wasn't really as high quality as it is now, I remember I would submit to these playlists and the feedback I would get would be like, it's great, like the writing is cool, like the whatever is cool, but we can't put this on a playlist with a Drake song because you could see the drop off. Like the mastering level wasn't even as loud as like another song. So when I hear those comparisons, I'm like, okay, phase 1 of me trying to make it in music is coming to fruition, you know. And I'm getting to that point now where it's like, you know, I'm starting to want to diversify who I am. So like the Spanglish stuff and even just doing things that, you know, in the production side that most artists don't do, like maybe like exchanging a hi-hat for like a shaker sound and like things like that just set me apart, just like even subliminal. Maybe you might not notice. I'm starting to be more aware of that now. And I feel like in about 6 months, I'll really get annoyed by those comparisons. But right now, I think it's cool and I appreciate it.
I think it's cool too because like Bad Bunny sings almost 100% in Spanish. And then like a lot of other people that sing like reggaeton, they'll either just do like all English. So it's really cool that you're kind of bringing both of them and you're doing, I think you're kind of like the only person that I know right now that's doing like the whole Spanglish thing. Because I feel like they do one or the other. Yeah, but not a lot of people are just like, I'm going to do the whole like Spanglish. Real. So I feel like that alone will kind of like set you apart, which is like cool. I mean,
thank you.
I mean, like, how do you even know you can rap?
Yeah, it's funny. In fact, I was more confident when I first started doing music with like my rapping ability than I was with like my singing ability. Because rapping is like, you can hide a lot of like vocal insecurities in rap because like there's things that make you a good rapper, like rapping in key. Like a lot of rappers will just rap and they won't be aware of like your tone or like a lot of rappers don't do that who are just starting. So that's important. But like it's a lot easier if you know how to rap than it is to like sing. So it took me a while to get into that bag of like Broken Together, like doing a full song where I'm like singing most of it and like one little rap verse. But I was totally that kid in high school, like when me and my friends would like drive. Like I remember, so I graduated, I'm 24. I graduated high school 2016.
Wow. Sorry, I'm like, I graduated in 2005. But go on.
But yeah, so 2015, Drake drops the most fire album ever with Future called What a Time to Be Alive. And that album became me and my friends like soundtrack for the end of junior year and all of senior year. So we drive around and do that. And for some reason, we just, like, me and my, shout out Kyle, you know who you are. We don't really talk much anymore, but he had a car. I didn't have a car yet. And so he would drive me everywhere, and he would just randomly have a good idea. Let's just freestyle, like, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, bet. And we do it, and he would freestyle, and it was cool or whatever. But then I would do it, and it was like longer, and it was like, oh, he's throwing like he's not just trying to rhyme, because when you're just freestyling, you're just trying to find the rhyme. I was like actually doing stuff. And he was like, oh, and that's when I started realizing, I'm like, oh, hey, I got something. But again, I didn't have the confidence back then to, like.
But you don't get like tongue twisted.
Yeah, no.
Because, like, okay, so if I'm rapping along with Eminem, I can do it all fast, right?
Yeah.
But then say, like, I'm trying to come up with my own shit, I get tongue twisted. I'll be like,
No, that's real.
Is there, like, an exercise you have to do, or does it just come natural for you?
You just got to memorize that Eminem verse in Rap God. And once you can rap that, that one, then you're never going to tongue twist again. Nah.
Or Buster Rhymes.
Oh, I could never do one of his.
I can't do that one.
Crazy.
I can't. Like, I don't even try. I'm like,
no, yeah. But no,
defeated.
I think it's definitely, it's a practice. It's a repetition thing. It's just like anything else. I don't think, I think rap is one of those things, again, like singing, there needs to be some natural, like, talent.
I have none of that.
But rap is one of those things I feel like you can learn, and it's like there's definitely like a skill to it, and there's like understanding like pockets and beats and stuff that it's just repetition.
You would say you're like a writer, right? I would say I'm a writer. Do you think that helps you in being able to rap? Like, does having a background in writing, you think, make you a stronger rapper? Because I know there's a lot of rappers who don't write.
Yeah. And
you can kind of hear it in their rhymes. They're kind of like elementary.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think so in college, in my 1 year of college before I dropped out, I was a part of
like that.
Yeah.
You're like, in my 1 year of college.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. You know what I'm saying? No.
Hey, you know, education's education.
I'm 25%
whatever,
college
man.
No, but in my 1 year, I really liked the English class, which I've always liked it because I always thought it was important to like be able to communicate. But I remember our first assignment was to write a poem about fall. And
it's a good season.
Yeah. And so I remember I wrote a poem, like whatever, but like I really like poetry. Like I was writing poems like when I was younger, and I liked reading poetry.
Yeah.
Let's go. It's just cool. I thought it was like a very vulnerable act, and I thought it was just like, you remember like writing essays in like school, and it was just like annoying, like staying on track. Like I like the spontaneity of poetry than like
I liked writing essays.
Yeah, okay.
I liked writing in general, but always poetry will be my favorite. Just the different styles and stuff.
And so I remember I wrote my poem about fall, and everyone else was like, you know, pumpkins and, you know,
the basic shit.
Yeah. And I'm like, let's take like a really like dark approach at autumn.
I like dark poetry.
And so I like incorporated like I just thought it'd be fun to like, everybody loves fall. You know, people get married in fall. Like, it's just a good time. I love fall too. It's my favorite
season.
So I thought it'd be a challenge. Like, let's make it like sound like not fun. Like, what if somebody hated fall? And I did it. And my teacher gave me like a really good grade.
I would have gave you an F for that.
right. And she gave me a sick grade, and she goes, you know what, Tags, I think we have like a poetry slam in like a month. He was like, I think you should do this one. And I was like, nah, like, what do you mean? Like, me
just
speaking in front of people? Just wanted to get
everybody against you.
Yeah, I was like, I'm trying to get a good grade, man. Like, I'm not trying to do that. And she was like, no, it's cool, because what we're doing is we're going to have everybody for extra credit go to the poetry slam. So I remember, I'm like, all right, cool. I go to this poetry slam, and I'm thinking it'll be like my class.
Yeah.
Nah, it's like we're in an auditorium, and there's maybe like 300 people in the stands, which like in IG terms seems like a little bit, but in real life.
No, that's like instant anxiety for me. Yeah.
I was scared.
That's a lot.
I was scared, but that was like my first true performance. And so I go up there, I do it, and then I won like second place or third place. I remember. It was one of those. Yeah, I placed. And I was like, and it's just a poetry slam. So like, this is my little English assignment. And then there's these guys who like put their whole like last 2 months into this poem. And I'm like, sorry, bro. But yeah, that definitely taught me a lot. The thing about the writing thing, if you, this is why I think a lot of people like, judge rappers who don't write their own stuff, because in poetry, you know this, when you write a poem, you're writing it with the idea of somebody reading it. And so the way you break up like the actual structure of the paragraph or the stanza,
your stanzas,
it matters because you read it differently.
That's how I write it. Like I write it the way that I break it where I want you to pause.
Yeah.
Like I don't want you to run on and read it. The way I write it is exactly how I want it. Like when I go to the next line, or I'll have the ... or a comma or whatever. And then I don't do like the typical like roses are red, violets are blue. Like I don't rhyme. I'll sometimes rhyme like every fourth bar or every sixth. Or sometimes they don't rhyme and only the first and last words rhyme. Like I like to mix it up, and I don't know, like I have fun with it. And I think maybe that's why people hate like writing poetry, because they literally think like you have to rhyme like every single word, you know? And I'm like, there's freedom here. Like do whatever you want.
And the greatest rappers do that, like the ABBA scheme, like that's super common in rap. Like the good ones, like Kendrick.
Yeah,
like,
I love when people like switch it up. Yeah. You don't have to rhyme in the same spot every single time, and you can still make it rhyme as long as it's. I feel like it's more when you're going with the beat that you originally wrote it with. Then it kind of like, it doesn't matter where you rhyme it kind of flows.
Right.
So okay, we're about to get a little personal.
Ooh, let's go.
Maybe a little vulnerable.
I love this.
So share as you please.
My heart is ready.
So we're gonna get a little bit vulnerable.
Oh snap.
All right. So you are recently divorced.
Indeed.
Okay, big D.
Indeed.
Has your divorce affected your music and the themes you explore in your songs?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, yeah. So I think this all goes back to what I said in the beginning. Like, I had a lot of people in my life that were negative forces. That's how I'll say it. And so the timeline of me really starting music went like this. And I'll explain to you. It's funny because 2021 was the hardest year of my life. I started releasing 2022. 2021 was the hardest year of my life, and it was
wait, what year did you get married? 2020?
2019.
2019. Okay.
Yeah, so 2021 was tough because actually it was a funny joke. Like for New Year's from 2021 to 2022, we had these like golden balloons on the wall that said "fuck 2021" because it was like an all around just tough year.
It was a shitty year,
right? It was like everyone's like getting reacclimated post pandemic. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But for me, like, so I was a part of a church for a while, forever, like for like 10 years. And then I ended up being on staff, part of like the central branding team of the church and everything.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point at the church, I got fired like in April of 2021. Damn. And so like, it is what it is. It was like, just to give clarity, I started my own business doing video, and like I like cleared it with whoever like my boss was at the time, and they were like, yeah, do it. And then as I started gaining traction with my business and like, you know, making more money and like buying new equipment, like I feel like there was some sort of like jealousy getting harbored with the people I worked with, and I just slowly started getting disconnected. Like if you're a church person, you know, like getting invited to like the lunch after Sundays is like a big deal, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just stopped
like
getting
you're
those,
in the clique.
I stopped getting those invitations, like little subtle hints like that,
like little things, you know.
Yeah.
Is it, you feel like one of those cases where like, I want you to do good but not better than me?
Definitely one of those things.
Okay.
Yeah,
it seems to be a common theme in life.
And so, again, this is the kind of stuff I was dealing with before, why I never did music, is like, how could I even picture myself as an artist when I have people over here getting mad that I'm like making commercials for other people,
and
like
buying better equipment.
You know what I'm saying? So
so
I got fired, and that happened. And then remember when I got fired, like obviously people stopped talking to me at the church, and like that was my friend group, like those were all my friends. And then, but still there were some that still did talk to me. And then like I like, you know, we took a photo with like this other person who didn't go to that church anymore, and then everybody blocked me, like in an instant. Everybody blocked me. And I was like, damn. So that was tough. But you know, this is where the marriage comes in. I was in a marriage, and like I was married to this girl, and through that I was like the comforting husband who, like, I didn't really get to process that loss of friends that quick. I was like, you know, comforting her, and like there was never really any like, are you good, like type of conversation with me. So it was cool, whatever. Then we get to a point where, you know, it was a toxic marriage, and I decided to leave the relationship. And you know, with that, like it didn't work. And it was one of those situations where we were both in a place where like we're both out of love, we're both tired and exhausted, and somebody had to pull the trigger to like leave. And you know, it was me, right? And because I was the one bearing the most consequence out of the toxic relationship. So I leave, we get separated, and then, you know, and I left like the end of 2021. And as soon as that happened, like, remember, I just went through like a 75% cut of all my friends, and then cool, whatever, I have these stragglers who love me and care about me, and then the divorce happens, and then the rest of them, you know, I wanted to take the approach of like, it's a personal matter. I'm not going to tell anybody like why or anything. And she didn't. She told everybody her twisted version of it. And so I lost the rest of my friends.
Like everyone chooses a side.
Exactly. Yeah. And since I wasn't like proactive about explaining my side, you know, I was like, okay, I mean, if nobody's going to ask me, like, I'm not going to go out of my way to paint her out to be a bad person. So all that to say, this year leading up to the music, you know, to process and express and to like really like feel everything I was feeling, I went to music. And that's kind of something I've always done in my life. Like, you can ask my parents, you can ask anybody, like when I'm sad, like they would hear the piano in my room, you know, like that's just how I vent, is like either through writing or playing piano. And those are my two things. So obviously, you know, I'm like you know, we're separated, I'm staying with my sister, I'm like, fuck it, let's learn how to produce. We got nothing else to do. So I do. And then the first song, What's New, was like about that in a very vague, not diss track way. Just like, let me kind of vent this.
Like actually deal with what you're going through. Yeah. It's funny because your little brother actually told me that like that's what you were known for when y'all were growing up, is whenever you were emotional or going through something, you would lock yourself up in your room for hours and just play piano and then come out like, I'm cool, like nothing happened. That's real. So the influence it's had on music is definitely, I mean, it's my form of expression. And you know, early in music it was a lot more evident. Now that I know like this is what I want to do, and I'm taking steps to do it, I think about like what will relate to other people. And but I've always been like, you know, again, like I relate to the people in music who talk about their issues and who really like, you could feel that it's really real, you know? And so I want to emulate that in my music. Like, I want you to know what I'm feeling, you know? But that's that. Yeah. Okay. In I Don't Need You, you express a sense of independence and self-sufficiency. Why is that important to you?
That's a great follow-up question. It's because of that. You know, I've been through the whole, like, let's try to please everyone around me. You know what I'm saying? I've been through that, like, heavy. And so now that that's gone, it's like, and I'm still here, you know, and I'm still standing.
You made it.
Who am I, like, to care about what anyone else thinks? So, like, yeah, the self-sufficiency thing in music, I say that also in, like, Macro Micro, my other track, where I'm like, self-sufficiency, that's really the mission. Like, independence in music, to me, is important because I'm a creative, you know, like, I like how my stuff looks, I like how my stuff sounds, and I don't really want anybody else involved at a managerial level. Yeah. So, like, you know, like, if I'm working and I'm collaborating with somebody, like, I'm not gonna be like hog the track, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you can ask the two people I've worked with so far, but I definitely think as an artist, if you really care about your art and you're not just like, you know, an industry player or something, like, you should want that. You should want independence. And plus, like, another side of that is, like, I've worked my whole life as a service-based creator. You know about this, like, the way of, like, yeah, you're expressing yourself through your designs, but you're really just trying to sell this product.
You're trying to sell it, and you're basically an instrument for someone else's vision because they can't do it. So, like, really, like, you give them the best input that you can to give them the best quality, but you have to often compromise a lot because their vision, especially if they're not a creative, it doesn't always align with what you envision, and they don't always listen.
Yeah.
So
So for me, like music is like, it's me finally creating for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not me creating for a client or so. Yeah. Like
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. So how stupid would it be for me to like sign to this label or to do that? It wouldn't make sense, you know?
And I feel like in today's climate, it's a lot easier for you to kind of be an independent artist and not really have like anyone breathing down your back and like, oh, you have to wear this and you have to look like this and your music has to sound like this, you know? Like you get to do your own thing. That's really liberating. And
for any labels that are looking at this, you know, I'm totally open to taking your money, but like it's got to be on my terms, you know. That's
good. And like stick to your guns.
Facts.
So, okay, can you walk us through your creative process from coming up to lyrics to producing a track? Like, how is a song born? Yeah. Like, how do you even, are you just like sitting one day and you're like, you know what, I'm feeling kind of salty about this. Let me go write some stuff down and I'm going to make, and then like, how? Like, how does it happen?
So, it's different. I have different ways. When it comes to the actual technical side, there's like, sometimes I'll start. So I produce all my stuff, right? So I'm not like buying a beat. And then
like he literally does everything. Like he writes the music, he puts the music together, composes it, has a lyric, like produces it, masters it, like fucking everything.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, with that in my, I always start with the music, you know. I said that weird. I always start with the music. So in production, I'll always build out the instrumentation first, and then I'll write, and you know it changes. You know, sometimes I'll start with drums, sometimes I'll start with the melody. Usually like to start with the melody because percussion is supposed to fill in the gaps of music. It's not meant to be like percussion first and then. That's just basic music theory. But I start with that, and then I write to it. Whatever emotion I feel from the music, whatever I come up with, that's what I write about. So but then sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll just like on some poetry stuff, like I'll write this thing first and then I'll create music. That's what, with my first EP, Atkinson Lane, all of those songs I wrote before. I remember, I wrote like My Pride, the first song of that EP, to some random type beat on YouTube, like in my car. Yeah. And then I created my song out of that with like.
So it was like a poem that evolved into a song.
So there's different ways. There's not one way, but. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, that's the part in doing music that like it requires a lot of discipline, because you could fall into the trap of like, you know, waiting for inspiration or like, you know, waiting for something to come to you. Yeah. I'm a big believer in, you know, and Russ said this in his book, and I love Russ. He's like one of my biggest inspirations, but he said, you know, music is my way of like communicating, and you know, he's a universalist, he's not Christian, so he puts it in a way, I'll put it in my way, but to me music is like, I don't believe that I'm writing anything. I believe I'm like delivering something. Like I'm more of like a conduit of something that I can't explain, because like I write the first line of music and then the rest just kind of comes in my mind, you know. I'm not really like, you know, like fully, I don't know, like it's not as technical as people think it is. At least for me, it's more like a feeling, and it's like, if you're creative, you know, like you get in this flow state, you know, you're not like fully like thinking out the next line, you're just going, and you know, that's something that I think is super important too, and understanding it also alleviates pressure. Like if I really believe like this isn't coming from me and like my strength as a rapper or a writer, it helps me like not procrastinate and be able to like, okay, let's sit down. Because if I don't sit down and if I don't start, nothing's gonna come to me.
That's true. Sometimes you just have to like force yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I mean by discipline. Like even if you don't believe these things, like you won't get anything if you don't start. You know? And
that's true. Trust me. Yeah. So true. So freaking true.
So
okay. So your song Neck Worth, which is actually my favorite.
Let's go.
You know, it gives me a little bit vibes of Eminem's Superman.
Ooh, okay. I see that. Yeah,
it gave me drum. Like when I heard it, I was like, wait.
That's a good song.
It's kind of a little similar to Superman. I love that freaking song too. Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of a powerful and emotional song that explores kind of like the struggles of mental health, i.e. like being a slave to money, financial struggles, your own self-worth. Can you talk about your decision to write about this topic and the impact you hope to make?
Yeah. God, you make that song sound so beautiful, you know?
No, I mean, like, that's kind of like the vibe that I got from it. At least for me, I would relate those to mental health because, I mean, financial struggles for one, that'll just put a dent. I've been there. And then, you know, like self-worth is something I struggle with, probably always will. I don't know anyone who doesn't, but I mean, it's evident that, and it's weird because you're like hyping yourself up, but then at the same time, you're like being real about how that is an issue for you.
Yeah. So that's kind of the whole point of the song. So the chorus goes like, it's supposed to, the first verse is a very braggadocious, like, you can't like fuck with me.
Yeah, you were hyping yourself up.
like I'm not making money now, but when I do, I'm buying that car and I'm posting it on the gram. You know, like that kind of vibe. And then it quickly takes a turn because it starts, the hook goes like, I build my net worth. And then I say, what's my neck worth?
Yeah.
What's my neck worth? And so the idea behind that, it's like a double entendre because like you're talking about what's my neck worth. In rap, it's popular to wear like super thick chains with like all the like 40,000 on my wrist, like stuff like that. And so it was like a play on that, like what's my neck worth? Because I'm talking about building my net worth, but also what's my neck worth? Like what's my life worth? Like what is the meaning of my life? Is it this net worth thing? Is it like how much money I have? Or is it this or that? And that's the question I'm trying to answer in the song. So the second verse, when I start saying, you know, we all slaves to this money, it's like a realization. Oh yeah, like and it's a very big like parallel to my life because I started working commercially like or professionally as a videographer and photographer since I was 16. I did like my first commercial shoot for DHL. They paid me an Amazon gift cards.
DHL?
They paid me Amazon gift cards because I didn't have an LLC and they couldn't like justify paying an independent contractor that was under 18. So they gave me like $600 in Amazon gift cards.
That's it. They could at least give you $1,000. Come on, DHL.
$600.
But you were young, right?
Yeah, I was 16.
Okay, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That's a hell of money. Yeah. I would have been like, yo.
Yeah, I was flexing that. But when you're doing all this, my whole life leading up to, you know, last year, damn near, it was how do we make more money? Because I need to make more money because that's the metric, you know what I'm saying? And literally 16 to 23 years old, just that was my mindset. And 2022, going back to the 2021 sucked. That whole year, despite all the music I put out, my goal wasn't like, let's execute and let's keep working. My goal for the first time, I remember writing it in a journal, was like, who am I as a person? Like, who do I want to be? Not what do I want to achieve? And that was like a big deal for me. So yeah, that song is really a reflection of the first half of my life, adult life, being all about the money. And now I'm going into the stage like, no, like, let's make art to make art, not to pay rent, you know? Like,
no. Yeah. And I kind of noticed that evolution in your music, which actually kind of brings me to my next question. Like, how has your music evolved since you first started, and what can we expect from your future work?
Yeah, good question. I think when I started music, my production has, like, the quality will continue to go up, right? But I feel like even the themes that I was exploring in the music was very emotional. It was very, what am I feeling and how do I get the feeling to this track? And it was very raw in the sense that, like, I didn't really care about the listener. I just, like, it was really like, let me lock myself in this closet and record this thing and let's put it out. Now, and I've been exploring like different sounds. Like at first it was very like trap hip hop, pop kind of thing. And now that I have a bigger understanding on mixing and like when I made those first songs, you gotta understand, like I like the mix on What's New, my first song, it was so bad. Like I remember when I did my first performance, they wanted me to play What's New, And I was like,
didn't you literally record that in your closet?
Yeah.
I think I remember that. Like, you didn't even have, like, your recording studio set up. Nothing. Like, you recorded it in a closet.
I literally, I was staying, that was, like, mid-divorce. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was staying at my sister's. And I literally was like, I'm going to grab my little podcast mic, because I used to have a podcast. And I was like, I'm going to set it up here.
Yeah.
And fuck it. Like, let's see what it sounds like. It sounded pretty decent. Okay, cool. But, yeah, like, I don't know, like the music, because now I have a deeper understanding of production and mixing, I feel more confident in trying new things. So yeah, I think this last 4 months where I released a song a week was very much me experimenting with like what sounds do I like before I like really hone in on like specific sounds. And so that goes into the future, you know.
Yeah.
I'm I never want to stop like trying new things, but I definitely have like a love for, you know, Neckworth type songs.
I can't express like how much I love that song. Like we play it a lot in the car when we're going places. We'll play that song and I'm just like, it just was such a, I don't even know. Like if I was a label or something, I'd be like, that's definitely like a single.
Nice.
Yeah, it has that vibe.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's definitely, when I wrote it and when I made it, I was like, it's definitely like a roll your windows down type of song. But
it is.
Right? Like I can see myself like in one of those like with hydraulics.
Like a slab?
Yeah. But
what?
No, I think that's like a style I really want to keep honing in. I really like the alternative like Joji like songs like So Perdido or Smile. I really like that because it's I don't know, it's interesting. It's what I listen to the most. And then to like a good like pop rap feel. You like Contigo Alone or like where I'm involving singing and rapping. Those are like the three like bags I'm really trying to get into.
Okay. So realizing as to how you use music, I would say is like almost a form of therapy. Yeah. Can you speak to the importance of mental health in the music industry and how do you prioritize taking care of yourself while pursuing your musical interests? That's
real. I think I got lucky in the sense that like music was I figured a lot of shit out about myself before starting to put out music. I feel like a lot of artists who, you know, start as like a high schooler and like they're making like SoundCloud music like in their high school and they're the SoundCloud rapper of their class. They got to go through that and like be raised through their maturity. I feel like I've reached a point where I'm like really sure in who I am before I started releasing it. And that's a big deal. Again, I you know, in music, I feel like the most important thing is confidence, and confidence comes from being okay with yourself, you know, like to put, even if you're not making a Neckworth type song, like my hardest songs to put out wasn't like, that's cool, but like it was like Smile, where I'm like talking about like my debate with love and like, should I love again because of what I've been through? Like I say, what's the point of smiling in this photo if it's all gonna be over anyways? Like coming with the terms with the
you're gonna get like hella women like writing you love notes now, like I'll fix your heart.
Yeah, I'm so sad.
I'll fix your heart tag.
Right. No, but that's real. Like those kind of things, like you need to be, even though it's sad and you would think like the person making the song is just like some emo kid in a room, it's like it takes confidence, more confidence to put that out than to put out like a rap like
because it's hard as fuck to be vulnerable.
Exactly.
Like it's so hard to share your true feelings and let people know, like, because I know when I've been down, I didn't talk about it. I didn't tell anybody. Like I kept it to myself.
That's real.
I just kind of shut myself away from everyone. Kind of gave off the vibe like maybe I was just shrugging everyone off or whatever, but I wasn't. Like I was just dealing with my own shit, and it was really hard. Like I didn't have anyone specifically that I wanted to tell them, because it's almost like you feel like the moment you open up, like somehow your worth is less. Like people are gonna know like this deep dark secret about you, and they're gonna like see you differently and be like, oh, like Missy's actually weak.
That's real.
Because for some reason people perceive me as being like this like strong and ambitious person who goes for her goals, but I'm like, I'm literally a ball of anxiety. Like everything I ever do, I have to just like push through my fear and just fucking do it, because I mean, otherwise I'm never gonna do anything. Like, I'm gonna have anxiety anyway. So like, I told my therapist, I have a therapist, I tell her and she tells me like, just do things, because you're gonna feel anxiety anyway. So wouldn't you rather like feel it while you're doing something than feel it while dreaming of doing something? And I was like,
yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
And in that sense, like, music, if you're into it, provides that place to vent, you know, that place to release, you know. And like, I find it akin to working out, you know. Like, when you work out, you kind of, it's almost like the opposite, because when you work out, you're escaping. In music, you're feeling all of the feeling. I'm a big proponent. My therapist told me to do this. Shout out to her.
Therapy too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, y'all go to therapy if you're fucked up. Like, seriously.
Yeah, even if you're not fucked up. Like, you might be a little fucked up and you don't even realize it.
No, know? It's so clutch.
Yeah.
So good for you.
But she tells me, she's like, you should, when you feel something, you shouldn't try to hide it or escape from it. She says you should totally feel that, because you're going to be able to overcome it and get past it. And like, it's totally normal to feel super sad one day. So like, when I feel super sad some days, I like text my friends, don't text me, I'm feeling kind of low. I put on my favorite, you know, 99 Neighbors. It's an artist that makes sappy rap. And I totally feel that for however long I need to feel it until I feel better. And you'll find yourself feeling way better after a good little hour session.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'll listen to hella sad music when I'm low, and you'd think it's counterproductive, because you're like, if you're feeling like shit and then you're gonna listen to something really dark, shouldn't it make you feel worse? But I'm like, no, it actually makes me feel better. It's like I'm living vicariously through that artist, and they're saying everything that I can't say, and I get to feel it, and then it's done. I can just wipe my face away and go smile and be who I need to be again, and then wait till my next breakdown.
It's kind of like when you cut yourself and you like put sanitizer on it. It's like it burns a little bit and you're still like, but it's overall it's helping you a lot more.
And it's not going to get infected, because the infection is probably worse than the actual fucking cut.
Facts.
You know?
We're spitting bars.
God, I should be a rapper. Should I be a rapper? Like, I feel like Missy Monoxide has a ring to it, you know? Like,
I like that.
Just be a rapper. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so like, we're getting deep into mental health.
I love it.
How do you think that the pandemic has affected the music industry, and what have been some of the challenges that you have faced as an artist emerging during the time of the pandemic? Because that changed everything. Like, it's weird how I've realized now when we talk about time periods, we'll say like, oh, this was pre-COVID. Yeah. And then post-COVID. Yeah, that's it. That's the determining factor.
It's so funny because now that I'm dating again, like, that's like a question. It's like, what was your pandemic like? It's so funny.
Like, well, how was your pre-COVID and your post-COVID?
And I'm like, I was married. And they're like, what the fuck? No.
Is that like a thing on Tinder? Like, pre-COVID, I was.
No, it should be, though. It'd be funny.
I think we should all know who we were pre-COVID.
Facts. Or not even pre, but I think it's even more like, who were you during? Because that's like your most real self,
God,
probably.
like, trapped in a house, can't go anywhere, see people, like, the real you.
We all gain weight, you know what I'm saying? It's all good. But
I mean, it's my fault now, but I'm going to blame it on the pandemic.
It's the pandemic's fault. It's the pandemic's fault till 2027, all right?
Yeah,
you got
it. Yeah, I know it's 2023, but these little pounds came from the pandemic. Not Pillsbury, but the pandemic. Yeah. But
no, I think the main challenge, and it had its ups and downs, right? Because I started releasing music 2022. I've been like addicted to following my favorite artists since I was like 16. So like, I saw how it affected it, and you know, even I like to take learnings from it, because who knows, tomorrow there might be a COVID-25, and
let's
like,
not put that out there.
Yeah,
please, please, government, don't get any ideas.
So what I noticed is a lot of people obviously it hurt artists money because they couldn't tour and they couldn't do shows, and that's how artists make money.
Yeah,
we don't make money streaming. You know, that's considered like passive income. You know, you either make money touring or through merch or through brand deals. It's almost like influencer type stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like, y'all are kind of influencers.
Yeah, 100%. So, because of that, that was like a con. Like, nobody can perform. So then you see all these people doing these like, you know, I hated these, like the home like live shows, which was like weird, right? Like, it's like in between songs, there's no crowd noise. It's just like you hear a clicking in the back, them changing tracks and stuff, and it's weird.
Some of them were soothing though.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I go back and listen to them now, like while I'm working and stuff. But in the moment when you just want to go to a concert, it's like, this sucks. But so that was a con, but a positive that came out of it is like TikTok, like, and social media is now,
fucking social media became everything.
It's how you like, and
could it have been planned? I think because like social media blew up after, which actually is my next question. How do you see technology and social media shaping the music industry, and what opportunities or challenges do they present for artists like you?
Okay, I'll start with the challenges and then I'll get into opportunities, because something big just happened. Actually, it just got announced. But
hell yeah.
Challenges is now, okay, so TikTok is now like the ground of breaking artists. Like that's where everybody gets found. TikTok is the biggest one. You know what I'm saying? Like people, it's changed the way. Here's two challenges from it. One, because it's the breaking artist place now, everybody is putting out clips that are similar about their song, and like everybody is hopping on these trends and whatnot. And I think the challenge that comes from that is now similar to how like Instagram became like a super oversaturated place of exposure for photographers at one point. TikTok is an oversaturated place for artists. So yeah, we might have like one artist found like every month, but there's so many people doing it. Like it's really hard to stand out. So that's like a challenge. It's before it was a big thing. More people would get found because not everybody was doing it. So like only the people doing it were the people getting highlighted, if that makes sense. It's like, But the other challenge that comes from that is now people create music with the hope that it will pop on TikTok. And so like everybody's trying to make the next TikTok song. And what makes a good TikTok song? Like quotable lyrics. Like people like gave that Drake album a lot of shit, like Certified Lover Boy, because like
I like that album.
I love it too. But like there's moments where like Lil Durk in one of the songs goes, I made my little dance on TikTok and went viral with it. And then that became a sound. But what I'm saying is like that was premeditated. You know, that section of the song could have been a more impactful section. It could have been a more, I don't know, it could have developed the story of the track more. But instead, everybody's, I don't know, it just changes how you create. And I think anything that changes how you like truthfully create is probably not a good thing.
It's true.
But that being said, the pros of it and the good things that it's doing for music is it is breaking more artists, even if it is harder for the individual artist. As a whole, I'm falling in love with new musicians I would have never known about if it wasn't for this TikTok blow up, you know? And so that's a good, but yeah, it's changing. Like, so there was recently, literally, like, I think it was a couple days ago, Spotify made a new, you know how Apple does those updates?
Yeah.
Where it's like, here's what's coming to Apple. Spotify had one. And apparently, and you can look this up, they're creating their own internal TikTok in the Spotify app. So if you notice, when you go click on a song, you click on the song and there's either you see the cover art or you see like a video. So that video, they've been playing with the idea of vertical video for a minute now. They just haven't done any searchability, anything. Well, that's coming. So there's going to be an in-app thing, which I think is going to be cool, because now like another thing about blowing up on TikTok is not everyone might convert to a Spotify listener. They might just follow you on TikTok or like that video. Yeah. If it's in Spotify, you're clicking over to their Spotify profile and all their music is there, you know? So that's going to be a huge thing that I will take full advantage of. And
so like in the 90s and 80s, those decades, it's like everyone wanted to appeal to the recording studios, to the producers. And now I feel like you want to appeal to TikTok, because that's where it's at. Like, what a world we live in. Like, can you imagine being an artist back in the day where you had to send out like demo tapes and hope that somebody at the freaking recording studio was going to listen to it?
It's funny because now it's almost like, I was talking to my mom about this, because when she was doing music, she had like her own demo tape and they recorded it and it was fire. And back in the day, you record the CD and you send the CD to like 50 producers and
hope one of them.
Hope one of them like at least a song, and then you could do a single deal or something, and whatever. She was telling me, because I was telling her how frustrating it is, like being being an artist now, you know, because yeah, it's easier and yeah, it's great, but it's also the time where artists have been getting paid the less. Established artists get paid less than they did back in the day. There's a lot of other things that like impact it, you know. And she was like, it's literally the same as it was back then. It's just under this facade that everyone gets reached easier, but you're still fighting against a plethora of artists, more artists now, because making music is way more accessible now. Like, I made those songs in my closet. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I could do it, anybody who's passionate about it can do it.
You're also going against like artists that have mad money behind them.
Exactly.
And it's like, if you don't have mad money, how do you compete? You just got to keep doing what you do, you know?
Yeah. And so you got to appeal, but you can also make the choice. And this is where Spotify getting its own TikTok is fire, is that like, it's completely direct to consumer. It's like the burst of the bubble of like, you know, retail stores. Like how many new clothing, like apparel shops don't have a shop anymore or don't have to sell at PacSun thanks to websites and Shopify that do direct to consumer. Now music is starting to be that. So even though it might be a little harder to reach people because of how many people are there, the people I do reach are a lot happier because I'm able to just put out a song a week. Like, okay, cool. You know? And so, yeah, it has its ups and downs, but I think social media and music, it has a net positive. And we'll see how it keeps going. I'm really excited as an artist for that Spotify thing because now it's like you can really dive into like your brand as an artist and your imagery and stuff. It's going to be cool.
So that kind of brings me to my next question. So like most artists are typically like in their own fight to have a little bit of the limelight, to have a little bit. Would you say that it's important to collaborate in the music industry? And if so, how do you approach working with other artists and producers?
Yeah, I think 100%. You know, I was actually watching this video of this guy like kind of giving like tips on like how to market yourself, whatever. It's like, I'm a nerd. I'll be looking at that stuff. Like,
I mean, it's good to learn.
Facts. But you think of it this way, and you know, DTX Street Sessions, I'm sure a lot of people listening are creative. So when you collab on like IG back in the day, you do a photo shoot with this model and like she has hella followers, so she's gonna post it, you're gonna post it. It's basically you're cross-selling, right? That's what it's called, is you cross-selling. With music, when you collaborate with another artist, you're cross-selling your music, and that's literally at its core what it is. You're appealing to their fans and they're appealing to yours. Like when I made my song with Cadell, he's like a really dope rapper.
Shout out Cadell.
Yeah. He has a way bigger following than I do. Like, and especially on Spotify, like he has way more listeners than me. So my listenership shot up because when they stream his song that has me on it, I'm getting those streams as well. So it's a really good way to finesse a system, collaboration. But more than that, which is the cooler part, me being like, I've been up until now I'm about to work on a song with this girl. She's so good. But anyways, we have this, or at least I had this obstacle. Like I want to get good at what I'm doing and do it myself before I collaborate. Because like, who am I to like bring this person this crappy verse or this bad beat or whatever?
Yeah.
But in the 2 moments in the last 4 months that I did collaborate, I made a song with David Anthony. Shout out David Anthony. He's fire. And with Lexi Grace. Shout out Lexi Grace. She's fire too.
Her voice is beautiful.
So good. And it was so cool because I'm like, hey, I'm this secular rapper. And she's like this worship leader. And I was like, let's make a song about broken hearts. And she was like, I'm so down. And it was cool. I could tell she never got asked to do that because of what she does. And it was just fire.
It's cool she was down. I love people like that. That like, despite their beliefs or whatever, like they don't think less of you or they're down for your cause or whatever.
Yeah. And she like makes music with like a full legit like recording studio. So she shows up to my apartment, my shitty little like makeshift home studio, and she's like, this is so dope. So Lexi, you're sick. But those moments were so cool because like, for example, my song with Lexi, that was my first time like mixing a vocal that wasn't mine. So like for my vocals, I have like, you know, my own vocal chain, which is basically like a series of plugins that make your voice sound as clear as possible. Long story short. So I had to build like her own custom vocal chain, right? Because I don't have a relationship with her producer. So like I can't just ask for her vocal chain. And then we did it, and it's kind of better than it sounded in the big like studio production, you know? So like when I did that, I was like, oh, this is sick. And it took that fear, because this whole last year has been like me, like fear, like before I performed, I was scared to perform, and then I performed and I loved it. I'm like, oh, I could do this all the time. And like before I did that, I was like, I'm scared to have people come over and record. Am I gonna do it right? Is it gonna sound shitty? Okay, now I know. And so collaboration makes you learn a lot, and music is just more fun when you're collaborating. Music is,
it seems like that.
Yeah, it's just a better time. I'm just a loner, but I'll do more.
So your dreams work out, and you get the chance of a lifetime to collaborate on a song with your idol or idols.
Ooh.
Who are you collaborating with, and why?
Damn, that's a good question. Drake.
Why Drake? Other than like the obvious, but
it's, you know, it's really out of just like, if you make a song with Drake, you're automatically on, and it's just how it is.
Y'all have like a similar flow too. I feel like y'all would vibe.
I've heard that before. Yeah, no, it's, yeah, he would be, I mean, obviously, because there's like a joke in the industry that like any artist who makes a song with Drake is fire, just because Drake co-signed it, and it like, obviously Drake is the biggest streaming artist in the US, so like you obviously get like a huge following uptake. People just notice you. It's like doing a song with Drake is almost like doing a magazine back in the day. Like it's like being on MTV back in the day. Like that's what Drake resembles. So everybody aims for that. So yeah, I would say Drake. But
Drake, when I left for deployment, Drake was Aubrey Graham on Degrassi. And I was like so in love with Jimmy. I was so like heartbroken when he got shot and put in that chair. It shouldn't be a spoiler to anybody at this point. Like if you haven't seen it, like what are you even doing with your life?
Right.
But when I came back from deployment, he had that one song, "You're the best I ever had," and I was like, I was singing and jamming out. I'm like, who is this Drake guy? And then I saw him like finally, because on the ship we weren't getting like the latest information. I would only see things when we went on shore and like a port, or when we came back. And so that was the first time I heard that song, and I'm like, Drake, where have I seen him before? I'm like, holy shit, that's Aubrey Graham from fucking Degrassi. Like, and he would rap in the show, which is like, he kind of killed his little little rhyme with Ashley, but I was like, what the hell? So yeah, I can see, it's crazy how he went from being on this like teenage show about just like, you know, I guess what they call that, the rites of passage into adulthood or whatever, to being like, if you do a track with him, like you're hot shit.
It's wild. And it's wild. He's sick. I think on some more low key artistical side, not just me trying to take advantage of his clout. I would love to work. I love Russ. Russ is sick. I'd love to work with. Okay, there's this guy. His name is Aries. I don't know if you've ever seen him. He's pretty low key. He makes this really cool like pop rap, like Post Maloney type vocal, but like with like he has such a cool blend of like hip hop drums with like electric guitar, like punk, like instrumentation. His stuff is sick, and he's fire. It's like he would be somebody like if tomorrow I get a little jump in clout and I can be like, yo, we should work. That would be like an urgent, collaboration.
I feel like you will. I know you said you like lost a lot of friends and acquaintances like along the way, but it seems like you have like a really supportive and loving family, and like you do have some friends that like stuck by you and stuff, especially like with your brother. I've heard that you guys have a pretty strong bond, and like he obviously like loves you. He made that very clear. By the way, I was like snooping with your family, so I was like trying to dig little information out. So thank you, Diego, for all the little
You're on your Nardwuar shit.
I love it. I was on my Joe Goldberg. I was like, you.
Oh, wait. That's a turn.
I'm like, you. What can I find out about you?
Oh, snap. No. Oh, shoot.
Okay, so how has your relationship with your family influenced your music and your personal growth?
Damn. That's deep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was okay with losing all of those friends because I had my family. I don't think I probably would have made that decision that's been the best decision of my life, which was get a divorce. I never would have.
No emphasis on that. He totally means like just going for his dreams.
100%. Yeah. 100%. No, that was, I wouldn't have been able to make that if I didn't have that family. And they've had a really cool impact on me and how I see myself fitting in music. Because I remember growing up, and this is why I never did it. This is why I never did it growing up. Besides me not feeling confident, it was part of that was like this weird, like rebellious spirit. Like everyone in my family does music. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be the video guy. Like it was just like, it was my weird form of not accepting who talent. I am. It was no, that's what it was. And so, and also like, I always felt this weird, like my dad is so good at this. My mom is so good at this. Like I can never be as good as them type of thing. You know what I'm saying? And I was always just scared to do it. So in the earlier part of my life, that's the impact they had on me, which isn't a bad thing. It just, that's how much I admired them. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't want to like put out a crap song and like taint the name and you know what I'm saying? Like it's a real
God, imagine being blessed enough to have like a whole musical family.
Yeah, I know, it is a blessing.
I would have given anything just to be able to sing. Like, and then your whole family just like y'all just get all the talent.
I'm very
like,
grateful. And you know it's gonna be sick, like in the future when I do shows, like I definitely want to get them involved. Like my mom will be cool. A part of like,
I've seen her on your videos. She's like ride or die. I've seen your dad. Like I think it's cool that you allow your family in there. Not that it makes you feel like wholesome, but it shows that you have a strong support system behind you. And do you feel like it's important for an artist to have a strong support system?
100%. And in fact, I literally just saw a clip. My favorite, okay, so it's kind of out of music, but my favorite, like my idol growing up, I played baseball my whole life. My idol was Derek Jeter, like number 2 from the Yankees. And like I literally like read his biographies as a kid. Like we had like these little like scholastic like book fairs, and I would buy like Derek Jeter biographies.
Those book fairs went hard though.
They went so hard.
Those were my favorite. Yeah.
Also, we didn't have money, so like I had to buy the biographies because they were the cheapest one. You know, I couldn't get that every wimpy kid. You know, I could only get like. Anyways.
But look at you now.
Let's go. Still broke, but I'm chasing my dreams. No, I'm like. But that being said, he said something recently, and he was like, I never would have chased my dream if I didn't have the supporting cast that I had. Like, my parents were my biggest fans, and I really do feel it. I don't know why in music it's cool to be like, fuck my parents, or like, fuck family.
What the fuck? Eminem, he hated his mom.
Yeah, and I get it. If that's your life, that's your life. But it seems to be like a cushion that, you know, kind of like rapping about like money or rapping about like your chains.
It's like a easy like fuck my parents. They messed me up. Fruit. Yeah,
and I've seen people do it, and then like years later be like, no man, my dad was actually, Drake did that. Drake would always talk shit about his mom, and like,
dude, Shia LaBeouf made a whole movie about his dad being like a piece of shit, and then he straight up came out and he's like, yeah, I lie, like he was actually a really cool dad. He hit me one time, and I'm like,
that's why I'm like, and obviously like my family's not perfect, you know what I'm saying, and like they're human and everybody has their things, but like that in my music I make a genuine attempt at like, I think I realized I could be a voice for my family. And before I used to think I'm going to taint my family. Now I'm like, I can put my family on. Like in Neckworth, like I say like, Tagliaferro, yeah, say that shit. Tagliaferro, yeah, say that shit. Like that's going to slap live because I like drop all the instrumentation for the second part. And then I say, you know, but she calls me Papi. Like that's a double entendre on my dad, because my dad literally, his nickname everywhere is Papi because he's the Hispanic guy, and it's not weird. Like at church they would call him Papi. Like it's not like
for Hispanics it's really not weird, but like I feel like Americans have made it a thing where like Papi it's like
sexual.
Yeah, but it's not.
So I made the joke of like, she calls me Papi, it's like a sexual thing, but it's also like, and then I say it kind of runs in the family. That's a bar about my family that only my family knows. And when my cousin plays a song in the car, we all jam that out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's a real like, you got to be in the and like Italian mobs, like they're fire. Like I don't get why people hate family so much.
Like, it's like family, there's strength behind it. Like you got someone looking out for you. You're not alone. Yeah. Like all my family's in Mexico. It's like my mom, my brother, and an uncle that I have in America. So my family, like my mom and like the little immediate family, we've struggled all our life because we just didn't have that strong family connection. We didn't have anyone to fall back on, like, and that sucks. So it's like, I don't know, if I had 20 cousins in America and my granny, my granddaddy, RIP, or any of them here, like, I don't think I'd be afraid of anything. Like I would feel so much support from my family. And I know my family supports me even as far as in being in Mexico, but it's just different. Like actually, like we're actually like alone in this country, and it hurts. Like, I was born in Mexico, so I feel you, but I've been here since I was like 3. So I didn't get to grow up around my family or experience like that strong family bond. So I love hearing when other people have that, because it's like, I wish I had that.
It's really a blessing. And that's why, like, the other side is like, I just, in my music, again, similar to like why I use my name, like I want it to be so me and so authentic to me that like I don't want to, like, I could lie, and I did that honestly for the first, like, when from like 18 to 22. I made a very like clear attempt to separate myself from my family, because like back then, again, we worked at the church. Like, my dad was a percussionist, my mom was a choir director, and like my social status was, I'm the kid of Papi. I'm like Papi's kid, like, you know, and it really bugged me, but it was also like, I want to make a name for myself. And so for a while, like, there was no hate or nothing for my family, but I didn't make an effort to hang out with them. I didn't like plan things. It was like, if they're there, I'm there kind of thing. But now, you know, especially again, it's like, I've been through some shit this last couple of years. Like, you really realize like who's really there for you. And my family was there for me. You know, I stayed at my sister's house, you know, like in her apartment with her husband, who's a great guy, and he helped me through it all too. And like,
it's awesome.
You know, like, I don't know. Like, I want them to be, I honestly, I think I want the music thing to work out as much for them as for me. And like my little brother being like, I put my teammate onto your music and he loved it. Like the pride he has in me, like, that's so fire. And I think that's
he really looks up to you. Like, it's crazy. He like admires.
I love that kid.
You like 100%. Yeah, he's like, I love my brother. I'll do anything for him. I was like,
the coolest thing is like, he's like a V2 of me. Like, he's like
dude, he sounds just like you. Because we've exchanged voice notes so I can get some dirt on you. I was like, one time even Adam was like, wait, is that Tags? I'm like, no, that's his little brother.
No, he's like, no, when I say he's a V2 on me, like, he's like version 2.0. Like, he's like, if I was more attractive, if I had a better body build, if I was good at baseball, like, and I mean it, like, the coolest shit that's gonna happen the next 10 years or 5 to 10 years is like, I'm gonna be this big name in music and he's gonna be like the pro in MLB. And I'm telling you, I'm saying this now, manifestation.
Do it. Yeah.
We're gonna be the next like Logan and Jake Paul of the internet, and it's gonna be sick.
Just not douchey, right?
Of course, you know, wholesome Italian version. Yeah,
like let's not.
But
nothing against the Paul brothers.
But what they've built is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And like,
no, they're geniuses.
I love that, and I love that we're gonna do it. And my sister is amazing too. Don't fuck it up. You know, she's gonna be
she's cool.
Oscar. No, is it Oscar? Yeah, she's an actress, so she's gonna be an Oscar winner. You know, it's coming. It's coming.
So speaking of your family, I was told that there was this event that you once attended with your parents in which you sang your little heart out doing karaoke, and everyone was like super impressed with you, and they're just like, where did that even come from? Oh, tell me about that experience and what that meant to you.
That was funny. So that was bro, like, okay, so I was still married then, and you know, I was kind of just going with the flow back then. I was like just doing whatever. Like, again, like that moment, because of where I was in life, and like I was like in a dark place. Like, it's funny because they reminded me of that moment recently, and I was like, oh, I forgot. So I sung with my ex. We sung "Stay" by Justin Bieber and the Kid Laroi, and he has this crazy run, and I hit it, and it was like, oh my god. Everyone was like, whatever. I'm like, not even tripping on that, but yeah, it was funny because I sang it and I sang well, and people knew I could rap because I'd be freestyling. Like, when my cousin would come over, we'd play Call of Duty, and he'd just play a YouTube type beat, and I'd go off. But nobody really knew I could like sing a little bit, you know. So when I did it, it was a fun little like what? Like, where did this come from? You know, like, it's not even really in my register. And I was like,
you just kill it. Oof. I mean, you seem to have a knack for doing a lot of things. Like, you've played sports, you've worked in graphic design, you've been a videographer, and now you're a musician. Would you say that music is your true passion and calling? Yeah. From everything you've done, like, you feel like you're finally 100%. Doing what you're meant to do.
100%. And this is I talk this a lot with my mom. I remember I called her when I first started doing music. When I first started dropping the couple of songs, I instantly felt like, because I've done so many so I'm a creative, okay? And we've talked about this. I like creating things, and I like expressing myself, and I feel like things in the creative field get mixed up with expression. Like, and I don't think every form of creativity is also a form of expression. Like, for example, when I'm creating a commercial for like a video, like a you know, a car brand or whatever, like I'm not really like fully expressing anything. I'm just capturing what this person wants, and I'm packaging it to make it look good for them. You know, when I've done photography, I've done graphic design, I've done all of these things, and I never really felt like it was like, even when I did like personal projects, it always felt like I am simply
a tool.
Yeah. And with music, it's like my rawest, most true form of expression. And I it took me a little while making music to really fully realize that. But I remember like after like the second song dropped, when I talked to David Anthony for the first time, because I made like an album cover for him like years ago. And so we were on each other's radar. He listened to my songs, and I would send him like the mixes before I posted them. And I remember one time he goes like, after I sent him the first one before I released it, bro, you make music, like what's going on? Like, this is crazy. Like, it's good. Like, obviously your mix is shit, but like you could work on that, you know? But like the things that matter, like you have it. And so I remember I called my mom, and this was when they were still in North Carolina. I called her and I was like, no, you don't get it, Mom. Like, this is like the thing. Like, I was crying in the car, like, and I was like, it feels, and it's funny because you don't understand the meaning of things until you've already gone past it. Like the whole like hindsight is 2020 kind of idea.
Literally 2020. Yeah. I just can't get over COVID. I'm gonna be mad for that like forever. Just ruined everything. But continue. Sorry. You triggered me. I was like, 2020.
No, yeah. So music to me it's a way for me to apply all of these different things that I've gotten pretty good at in one. Like with a song, I get to practice my photography bag, creating the cover art. I get to design. I get to create videos for it. I get to make music right. Like I always question, as I was going through these different phases, I was always like questioning, like, why am I into this? Like, what's leading up to this? And I remember when I decided to make my agency, my in 2021, Trinity Tags Content Creation, which, you know, we still doing projects. So if you need something, let me know. Yeah. But when I was doing that, I made that because I was like, okay, obviously God gave me all these things because like I should like run my own agency because I can be good at everything and I could do it all myself. And then like literally 3 months into it, I'm making the most money I made in my life. I hated it. I was like depressed, like real like depression, and I couldn't understand why, because I'm like, I'm doing the thing I'm meant to do, like whatever. And it wasn't until I started making music where I'm like, I totally missed this, like this is the thing, you know. And so it has I
can totally relate. Like, love my clients, but not always, the work doesn't always feel fulfilling. It's not always my vision. So I'm kind of in the same boat, you know, like I do graphic design, I do photography, learning video.
Let's go.
But I feel like this is finally my self-expression of what I do in my way without any limitations, without any like, you can't do this and you can't say that and you can't look like, you know. So I'm like in my little baby journey of where awesome. Like you're midway, I feel. So I'm like, am I gonna be as happy as Tag soon? Like, is my depression gonna go away? Because God, like I am depressed. No, not really, but I am like I do feel like this is liberating, and it's cool. Like it has to be different getting to apply your skills for yourself.
So different.
Like that's gotta be like, I can't wait to, if y'all like me, hopefully I can keep feeling this. But so we've obviously talked a lot about different losses and different parts of your journey, losing friends, losing relationships, losing even parts of yourself. Oof. What sacrifices do you feel that you've had to make in order to pursue your dreams? And do you feel that they were worthwhile?
100%. Yeah, I had to, I mean, obviously all those things. But it was funny because like a lot of those, most of those was like out of my control. Like it was a lot of like, you know, like people stopped talking to me because of circumstance, you know. But, you know, my decision to to leave that relationship, like, you know, and again, and when I say this stuff, I know I've talked about it a lot, like, you know, I care about her, and I hope her the best, and I wish her the best, and you know, like, there's no shade, and I'm completely like, you know, I've done everything in my power to make sure that she's good, you know what I'm saying? Like, but when it comes to that was like my choice that I had to make to really evolve as a person. And even though it was a hard season, and it was like the biggest sacrifice I've made, and I cried so much, and I, you know, physical like body ache from that, like, yeah, it was so worth it, because, you know, a lot of us, even if it's, and it could be a relationship, it doesn't have to be marriage, you know what I'm saying? Like, it could be whatever. We're holding on to these things because we're afraid of what'll happen if we don't have it. Like, maybe like I'm gonna change, or maybe this or that, or maybe like I'm gonna regret it, and like, but sometimes making those big decisions might be the thing that will unlock that other side of you. Because like, you gotta understand, like, me being an artist, like, I was like a musician, like I would play in the church sometimes, like the piano. I was like, I couldn't even fathom myself being the center of attention in music, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was, when I say it was completely out of my realm of possibility, I mean, like, I didn't even think it could happen. Like, but that was because of the circumstance I was placed in, because of the people I was around. And it wasn't until I got rid of that where that became like a little like shimmer of light that I could follow and I could pursue. And it really makes the biggest, like, it's risk in general, like taking on those risks, whatever it is. Like, I promise you, the beauty of all this is like, you take a risk and maybe it doesn't go the way you wanted it to, or the outcome isn't the same. It's still a different outcome than what you were doing. Yeah. And I feel like nowadays, like, a lot of us, even like if it's quitting your job to do the thing you're passionate about, like, we are so comfortable and so afraid of what might happen that we'd rather just stay in whatever circumstance we're in. But like, if you make the decision to leave, like, I guarantee you, like, if your thing is a toxic relationship, like, there's gonna be another one or whatever. Or maybe you can get back if you realize it's messed up and you could atone for whatever. If your thing is you're scared of the financial thing, like with a job, like, you can always get another job, you know? Yeah. And it's just, that's been my biggest lesson, has been like getting quicker with decision making, like, and understanding, like, not every, first of all, nobody cares. So like, this thing you're scared of doing, or this person you're scared of letting go of, or whatever, nobody around you really cares that much. You know what I'm saying? Like, funny enough, the people who I talked about who cut me off after the divorce, oh, I'm a cool artist now. Like, I've been getting texts, like, let's hang out. Like, can you help me set up my music thing? This artist who I've been, like, and I'm like, bro, like, I promise you, making that big decision, whatever the decision is, you're never gonna regret it, because, you know, at the very end of the day, I can at least say that I've been true to myself, and that's all that really matters to me.
So, like, you're saying, yeah, it's probably gonna change your life. It's gonna impact you a lot. Yeah. And you said you suffered quite a bit. Yeah. Like, it obviously wasn't an easy choice. No. Would you say then that all that suffering is something that you can reflect on now, and you're okay with that? Like, if you had to go through it again, would you?
100%.
To be where you are right now.
I'd do it 1,000 times over, you know? And it's funny because, like, I remember when I was doing it, I had this like weird like feeling of, it was grief, right? Because you're seeing a relationship die. That's what it is.
You're in mourning, basically.
You're in mourning. But, you know, just like that, like a death, like, it passes by and you learn from it and you grow. And that's the biggest part. Like, a lot of people been trying to, like, including me back, like, people try to grow without ain't nothing happening to them. Like, a diamond don't become a diamond from a coal without the pressure. And it's a cliche ass thing to say, but it's true. Like,
it is.
My material and my music would suck if I didn't go through anything, you know? I would just be Lil Pump, you know, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. Like, you know, you know, Lil Pump is cool, but like, it's not the same, you know? And yeah, if you go through it, and it's like the other thing, like, pain is temporary, like, it's gonna go away. It's like when you work out, like, you know, like, yeah, it hurts right now, but in 6 months, you're gonna look back and be like, it's the same thing. And like every decision you make is going to lead to a consequence, including not making a decision. That's not true. Making a decision is just as much of a decision as making the decision. You're choosing to stay in whatever you're living in. And my thing is like a lot of people complain about not being where they want to be, but then they don't change anything. I'm like, how are you going to, like, you want to be a millionaire, but you haven't bought an LLC. You want to be fit, but you haven't hit a gym. You want to win the
lotto, but you don't play.
Exactly. No, that's real.
I always complain to him like, damn it, I didn't hit the jackpot, but I didn't even buy a ticket.
That's the moral of the story, man.
So for anyone that's watching and say they're going through a time where there's something real big that's weighing on their shoulders and they feel stuck, they feel trapped, they don't know how to get out of it, they're scared as fuck, they're like you said, if you cut off this person, now you have to find a job, now you have to find a car, now you have to do this, or if you cut off this friend, you know, who's going to back you up? Like, how would you tell them to navigate that situation? Like, what advice would you give them? And would you be pretty raw about like, yeah, but if you follow my advice, like, be prepared to deal with the like turmoil emotionally afterwards?
Yeah, I think if you're stuck in anywhere, and what I would say is like, the reason you're feeling a way about it is because you want a change. Because if you didn't internally somewhere want something to change, you wouldn't be feeling stuck. You would just be happy, and you would just be content. And my thing is like, our life is finite. And so if you feel stuck, don't wait 5 years to make the decision you can make right now. Like, if you're working at a job, don't wait 10 years to realize at the top of the corporate chain, damn, this sucks. Yeah. Because, like, I don't know.
Because you might not even have 10 years.
And if you have been waiting, well, maybe now's a chance. I just feel like another thing is we overthink stuff. That's my biggest advice. Same. I'm an overthinker to the max.
God, and I have a creative imagination, let me tell you. I will come up with every bad thing that can possibly happen. Yeah,
that's real. And so like, if you're an overthinker, my thing that I would say is, no matter where you are, you've gone through something already, right? You've faced this, even if it's as small as like your little like middle school heartbreak, you know, like you faced something. And my thing is like, whatever that consequence was, when it happened, you got through it, and you're still here. You know what I'm saying? So like, whatever it is that you're scared of, or of that turmoil that's gonna come if you decide to do this, like, don't overthink that before you do it. Just do it. And then when you're in it, you'll figure it out. Like, nobody doesn't figure it out. Like, everybody figures it out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it might suck, but you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna figure it out.
And I think honestly, the coolest part of this whole season is like, I really had to start over. Like, you know, part of my whole I wanted to make sure she's good thing is I didn't fight for anything. She kept all of our furniture. I paid off her car. Like,
that's like some real men shit right there, because like we do live in a world, I've seen it even within my family, where the man will leave the woman and he's like, I want the house and I want the car and I want the dog, you know. Like, they want more than half, if not everything, and they just want to leave the woman out of the dirt. And like, I'm equal opportunity. Like, you know, I'm not saying that the woman should by default like get everything, but it's cool to see that there are still men that have some chivalry and some consideration for women or their partners, where they're like, you know what, like, the situation sucks, like, we have to go our separate ways. I don't want to make you miserable too. I don't want to like screw you over. I don't want to make your life harder, because it seems like we do live in a toxic world where it's like people are literally going out of their way to make people's lives harder and miserable, and I don't get that.
And that's, you know, and that was like, you know, I was the one who made the choice, right? So in my head, it was like the least I could do, because I'm the one fucking up our situation that we have, like, economically. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, she could keep it, and also I just didn't want to delay it with like trying to negotiate it, but like, that was a real, like, I care about this person. So like, I don't know, man. I think people should just follow what they want to do, bro. And like,
that's like solid advice. Which, like, speaking of like advice, is there any of this that you think will trickle its way into your music? Like, what message do you hope to send to your fans, and what do you want them to learn from your music?
Yeah, I think the main messages that I try to push with my music is, one, like, yourself, who you are is probably your biggest asset. Like, who you truly are, not like who you put on for IG or who you put on in front of this group of friends. Is who you are. Because, like, if you're trying to stand out in whatever, this is how I see it. If you're an artist and you're trying to stand out, if you're a photographer and you're trying to stand out, if you're a business owner and you want to stand out, the only way you can truly stand out is by being yourself, because there's no other version of you. Like, you're the only Missy Monoxide. There's no other Missy Monoxide. There's no other. I
mean, I hope not. There have to be some explaining if there is.
But what I'm saying is, like, God didn't like clone your DNA and create this other personality in this other person. So in my book, that's something I really want to show. And I might not talk about it in my music, but that's one of those things I hope to, like, lead by example kind of things. Like, you know, in the way I market myself, like, in what I wear and everything. But the other thing too, I really, again, highlighting that the family thing, I think is super key, because, like I said, my relationship with my parents wasn't like this 4 years ago, you know, and I'm not saying it was bad, but I made an effort to do that, and they made an effort. And I really think that, like, you know, blood is one of those things, and that if you have the option, you know, I understand there's some situations where, like, you can't fix some stuff, you know what I'm saying? But, like, if you do have the option to mend some relationships, having a family support you hits different than having your friends sharing your stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, when your family is there with you, that's honestly, that's like one of my biggest sources of joy, knowing that, like, I'll get a text from, like, my cousin who's 21, you know, who he's like, he likes my music, or my little brother, like, who's the next generation, like, he likes my music, and it's not corny to him. Like, that's huge, you know. And then finally, self-belief. It kind of goes with that first one, but not just being yourself, but fully, like, showing people this is me. And, like, you know, like, I have a song, it's like one of my favorite songs, it's Delusional, where I talk about being delusional about your dreams. Like, you have to be fully who you are. And that's something I really want to, like, show people. Like, you know, when I make, like, joints like Neck Worth, where I'm, like, being braggadocious, that's not, I didn't make that because I wanted to say that. I made that because I want the person to sing that. Like, I made that because I want the person to rap that and feel that when they rap it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, and you're putting it out in the universe too. So in a way that kind of helps you manifest that. Facts. Like, I know there's a lot of rappers that put out a lot of dark stuff, and let's take Biggie and Tupac. Yeah. They kind of predicted their own deaths in their music, and I'm a firm believer that when you put stuff out like that to that degree and constantly, like, talk about it, it can manifest. So it's like, it's good to put a positive message in your music, something that you want to better yourself. So even if your fans are singing along, even though it's you, they're still saying the words, you know. So maybe I'm hoping, like, in a low-key way that can trickle down to them, and them just expressing that can maybe even help them manifest what they want in their own lives.
100%.
Because I feel like that's what we all want. Like, I feel like if we didn't have to, like, work for paper, if we were just, say, here just existing, because I feel like all humans are low-key creative. Right. It's just there's no room for it when you're in a system that literally requires, I guess, your slavery in return for a paycheck, for a piece of paper. So I feel like we're lucky, super blessed to be able to be creatives, and that we took the plunge, and we just didn't, the traditional 9-to-5 just didn't work for us. And, like, I'm not going to say it's easy. I know it's not easy for you. Like, I've been broke more times than I can count. You know, I've gone through some crazy tribulations in deciding, like, I want to work for myself, because people will see you and they're like, oh my God, it must be so cool to just be at home all day and you just get to do design and pet your dog. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't see us working all the time. Right. You don't see us up at 4 a.m. doing a client shoot. You know, you didn't see us when we didn't have enough money to even buy my dog food. Like, you weren't there for that. So it's like, it's cool that you get to share that in your music, and like, let people know that part of your story, because I feel like people need to hear, like, yeah, you can shoot for your dreams all you want, but we got to be real and let people know, like, what they're setting themselves, because that reaching for your dreams is a heavy cost, but is it any heavier than surrendering your dreams?
That's way heavier in my opinion. I feel like,
yeah.
And I have a song. It's called My Pride. It was the first song in Atkerson Lane, my first EP, and it was when I made that song, I was in this job. I was the creative lead of a tech company in Dallas, and I literally just got laid off in January. But in that moment, I was talking about the fact that, like, I used to be able to take leaps of faith, and like, I would just quit, like, I've been paying my own rent and living by myself since I was 18. So like,
same.
Yeah. So like, it was pretty young understanding how that works. And I chose to like leave this job to completely freelance and pay my rent of like, it was a shitty studio apartment in Euless, Texas. It was like $600.
Shout out Useless.
yeah. Useless for real. But it was, I think my expenses was like $800. But when you're starting in photography and doing like $100 for a video, like,
that's a lot.
That's so much. It's like 8 projects a month. That's a lot. And so I remember those pressures, but I didn't care because like I really wanted to build my name and then I met you guys and like all thanks to that. And so now I had made that song because I got again sucked back into like a 9-to-5. I was in a true like corporate creative position, which is like the worst place to be if you're creative, because it's like freelancing on 1,000. It's so bad. And you're like, I was a part of like a 5-man marketing team, so nobody understands what your job is anyway. It's just frustrating. But
nope. They think you just like push a button and then things magically create. This font just came to be because I didn't do anything.
Oh my god, I didn't think
about it.
And so I made that song because I was like, now like, it's why am I not chasing this? And it was my pride. Like, I didn't want to go back to how am I paying rent next month. It was this weird place of comfortability, but more of pride of like, I don't want people to see that like all that being said, I was gonna quit my job in January. God said, don't worry, even if you're feeling insecure about that, I'm gonna make you quit your job. And I got laid off, a 20% layoff in the whole company. I was part of it because I was a marketer and we get laid off first. That's how it works. And I had a real wake-up call the other day. I went out with, like, it was my friend's birthday. He don't even know this. Shout out Dell. It was his birthday. We were out getting drinks. He was like, why aren't you drinking? They were buying me drink. I couldn't afford it. And this was like a month ago, and I remember I had parked in a parking garage, and I thought it was like $5 for parking. It was $15 because it was the weekend.
Shit.
And I go, and my card keeps getting declined. And I have this like little like panic, like, fuck, how am I gonna get out of this parking garage? I don't have money, bro. And so I call the little help number and I go, it's just declining my card, but I have money. And she was like, I'll just let you through. I was like, all right, bet.
Damn.
But that was like a real like, I'm really like in the gutter right now. And but this time around it's cool because like I know who I am and I know what I want to do. And even though it's a little scary, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm banking on paying rent next month off of this camera I'm selling. And it's not selling. And I'm like, fuck.
Hey.
Yeah, no, for real.
Wants to buy this camera, please.
Yeah, but stuff like that where it's like these things that you might be afraid of before you do it. But then when you're into it, you realize like, I'm going to figure it out. Like, I'm going to do it and it's fine. And I'm happier where I am now than I was when I was working this corporate dead-end job that like,
definitely have been there. Like, we've experienced that firsthand. And like, if we were able to figure it out, I know for a fact you're going to figure it out. And it's crazy, like, trying to stay positive through all of that. And I feel like every now and then the universe is going to throw some little people. Like, I don't know who it was, and I'm looking at you right now. I hope you're watching. But there was somebody who messaged DTXSTREET because, you know, like the pandemic and stuff. And we hadn't done anything. Like, who was? I mean, we were all just trying to, like, not get COVID and survive and not be too chubby. That didn't work out. Anyway, this person, like, sent us a message on DTXSTREET. And they were like, damn, y'all fell off, but that's cool because I've been praying for y'all's downfall.
Wow.
First of all, like,
fuck you.
It made me laugh a little bit because I'm like, damn, like, that's energy. Like, even people that love me don't sometimes put that much effort into making me feel a type of way.
Really, but I was like,
I'm like, and secondly, like, damn, like, but you're praying for me. Like, you're praying for me, like, not the way you think you are, but... You know, my granny, old little Mexican lady, she was real wise. And she'd always tell me, like, be careful what you wish on others because God will bring it right back to you. So I low-key kind of want to thank you, whoever you were, too, for saying that, because I think I deleted your message. Oh. I was petty. I was like, delete, block. But you pushed me to do this. Like, you pushed me to do sessions. Like, you reminded me that, like, yeah, kind of did fall off. Like, I haven't done anything since COVID. So I'm taking that person's negativity. I'm taking, like, their ill will against me. And I'm like, I'm going to turn that around and do something cool and fun for myself. So it's like, I just want to let that person know that, like, I don't know what intention you had when you sent that message, but, like, it worked out really positively for me and for DTX Street. So, like, low key, thank you. And, like, I hope you're praying on good things now, because I wouldn't want any will on you. So
Granny Monoxide is a real one.
Who?
Granny Monoxide. She's a real one.
Yeah, my granny. I hope she, you know, is watching from up there. I'm sure she is. But yeah, like, I guess it's this whole life, I feel like we're all just trying to figure things out. And, like, you know, don't be a douche and send people, like, evil ass messages, because
crazy.
I mean you can't, because you don't know how that person's gonna react. Like, you motivated me, and for that I do thank you. I just hope you learn to expel your energy in a more positive manner. But it kind of worked out. So thank you.
I've always.
I don't know if you've had somebody do that to you or say stuff like that.
Oh, have I? No, it's
Please
funny.
Do share.
I'll tell you. Especially, it was with the music. It was when I dropped the second, or I was teasing the second song, La Próxima, which don't go listen to it. It's so bad. My first two songs
what song
are so
was
bad.
It?
La Próxima.
La Próxima. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's just so ass. Don't even listen to it. I hate it. Anyways, that one, somebody commented on, like, a reel I made, right? And I forgot what it was, but it was just some straight hate, and it was like this weird, like, burner account, and it was right after my divorce. So, like, I was like, it was probably one of her friends or whatever, and then we found out who it was. It was this dude who I'm not gonna say his name, but he's so bad. But I just gotta break the silence, because, like, it's so dumb that this dude made this burner account. Like, what you talking about, the energy?
Yeah, it's a lot of energy.
Creating a burner account to go comment some hateful stuff. And then he got his cousin to go comment, which I thought was stupid. That's what made me know it was him. Because it was his cousin, bro. And there was only 2 hate comments. And I was like, I messaged him. And then my homies messaged, like, his girl. And they were like, bro, like, this isn't cool. Like, what's the point? Like, whatever. And I was just trying to be quiet about it. My homies were triggered. They were like, nah, this can't roll. Because it was somebody everybody in my friend group has had beef with. Like, so he just hates everybody. And so we go. And we're like, or not we, they go, and they're saying all this stuff, and they're denying it. It's not him. It's a burner account. It's something else. Whatever.
A trifling.
And, you know, here we are a year later. You know, homie is like, I haven't heard the last of him in a year. So, yeah, be careful what you say, because, like,
it really does come back to you.
It's so, and it's like, my thing is, like, how dumb do you have to be to, like, first of all, you're commenting on my account, you're triggering the algorithm for me. I appreciated that. You know what I'm saying?
Engagement.
And I had like my friends all commented on it. That post went crazy just because of that dude commenting. And I was like,
was solid.
No cap.
So, like, thank you.
Shout
Mr.
out.
Damn.
But
look at our haters out here making stuff work out for us.
I don't get it, but it had me rolling.
They're doing more work than the people that love us. No shade to, like, the people that love us, but, like, damn, it wouldn't hurt y'all to leave a comment sometimes. Like,
yeah, now that's what I'm saying. Like, people,
a little heart.
Yeah, right. No, people switching up, and, like, it's funny because now, like I said, like, I'm getting DMs of, like, old people, like, in my life who are like, oh my god, you're killing it, oh my god, when I knew they were in rooms saying bad stuff when I first started. And I'm like, yeah, that's the other side of following your dreams. Like,
people are gonna talk shit,
and nobody's good when you start. Like, you don't and this is funny because there's this weird thing in music where they're like, don't put out stuff until it's good. It's like a really common theme, and, like, there's producers who advise that because they're like, you can keep practicing and making music, but just don't put it out, like, and just, like, whatever. And I'm like, you don't really grow unless you get that experience. My thing is, like, I'm not ashamed of any song I've put out, but I can look back at, like, that song, like La Próxima, and be like, there's hella work I can do. And that helped me.
But you needed really that continue. To grow.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, like, yeah, like, I don't know, like, you're never you can't get good if you don't start. And the thing is, you don't start getting good until you start. So if you're waiting 2 years to do that thing you've been wanting to do for 2 years, you're starting 2 years later. No, but at least you're starting. And you could be starting 4 years from now.
I could.
But you're starting now. And that's what I'm saying. Like,
wait, do it. Is this going to suck to me one day? Am I gonna look back at this and be like,
yeah,
damn, look at my little setup with my wannabe hard ass sessions?
When you have, no, I'm telling you, it's funny because I think about this now. I think about my little studio that I'm so proud of because it's not my sister's closet. My little studio right now. I'm gonna be like, when I'm like working out of like major label studios because I have the money to rent them. I'm gonna laugh at that. Just like when you start like having your own show on like this major thing and like it's a big thing and you're this big voice. Christina. You're gonna look at this and you're gonna be like, bruh,
damn,
you know.
I'd be like, cool. I'm gonna have to invite you back when we're like both big, because like the glow up is gonna be the voice of
Dallas right here. This is gonna be the voice of Dallas.
Like voices of Dallas.
Tough.
Damn. So that. Like, okay. Speaking on this, where can people find you? Like, what social media and musical platforms is your music at? Like, because I already told you, if you try searching tags, it's just not going to pop up.
Yeah.
So, like, tell us how to find you.
Right. So, actually, I looked it up on Spotify. If you look up tags, my profile comes up, which is weird. I don't know why. I think it's because my username is Andres R Tags. Anyways.
Maybe you should do that on Apple.
It's all synced. Like, it's all through a distribution platform, so it should be. But anyways.
They just don't like me. Because I'll type in tags. They're like, no, you're going to write out the full name. No, I'm like, damn, like, that's a doozy.
No, but I love it. And one of those, another reason I did that is because I think it's so cool. Like, first of all, I hated my last name growing up. Hated it because it's so long. So, like, you're writing it on school papers and you're like, fuck. Like, it's
no joke.
letters.
Like, even as Latina, it is a little bit of like a tongue twister.
It's a lot.
It's a little hard to say. Even me being Spanish, I was like, Tagliaferro.
But then I'm like, think about like the coolest like designer brands. Like they're like such weird names. Like
Balmain.
What?
Gucci.
Like Versace, Balenciaga. Like they're only like they probably weren't cool back in the day. They were probably shouldn't be. But that's like an active choice I made because I'm like, how Tagliaferro is so like Italian. And I feel like one day when I'm big or whatever, like people are gonna look back and they're gonna be like, yo. But yes, anyways, my name's Andres Tagliaferro. You can look that up. You can literally copy and paste it from the title or description.
So you're like on YouTube?
I'm on YouTube. I'm on
Apple,
Spotify, Apple Music.
SoundCloud?
No. Well, so actually my SoundCloud is where I like post freestyles and like songs that didn't make the cut.
Okay.
So it's cool to follow it on there because I do have some bangers on there. I have one of my friends told me he likes my SoundCloud music more because it's the reason I don't do it is when I'm like feeling real inspired, I'll like just get like a random beat from YouTube that I don't have the rights to, and I'll just rap over it. And actually, when I first started, I made these things called sharpening my pen freestyles.
I remember those.
Yeah, and they were like 10. I made 10 songs in 10 days, all of them right after work, and then I recorded the visual and I put it out the same day. And it was like this song a week thing on steroids. And so like I made that. And those are all on my SoundCloud. So if you want to see me before I could really rap for real, you can go check those out. But I think they stand, on 2 feet.
Y'all better get with him before he blows up. Because then you can say you knew him. Like you knew the homie tags.
I'm saying. Like,
right.
But yeah, so my full name for all of those streaming platforms, an easier way to access all of them is just go to my Instagram. It's in the link in the bio. And my @ is Andres R Tags. Super simple. I'm also on Twitter, but like I be getting sappy on there. So like whatever.
Like sappy,
then, like I'll just tweet random shit. Like I like it. It's cool. And honestly, I want to have a cool Twitter following and like I want more people because I feel like it's more direct access to people, especially in music. So whatever. The same @ and then TikTok, same @ those are basically all
that's good for at least consistency. So once you find him on one thing, like he said, his IG, that's probably your best bet to like find him on everything. And maybe you should follow him.
Maybe
that's
a good thing.
Throw a like.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if y'all can do it on all those girls' thirst traps, why not do it on a trap artist? Yeah.
Do it,
man. Okay, so God, you've literally told me everything. Like, thank you so much for your vulnerability and your just willingness to share everything with me, with us. And is there anything that you could tell me as far as like any recommendations or any advice that you have for me specifically on you know, as you know, I'm new on my little podcast journey, so I'm still humble, so hit me now before I get an ego. What do you think, what advice do you have for me at this point in my journey?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to come on. I mean, it's really cool because it's allowed me to say things I've been wanting to say that I don't. As an artist, you're limited to a 3-minute song, and it's just fun. I wouldn't just record a video and post it on my IG like this. So thank you. And in terms to you, I think, you know, I'll tell you what the artist who told me when I started making music told me, which is like where you're starting now is already like leagues above any other person starting in podcasting. Like you have like a Shure mic, you know what I'm saying? Like you have like 3 camera angles, like you have a cool LED, like this stuff. Like I know it sounds dumb, but like there's so many like podcasts that are going viral on TikTok that are just like 2 dudes with like their little like Apple iPhone thing. So with that, like I would just tell you to like be confident. Like this, you know, this isn't just a little podcast. Like this is your show. Like this is DTXSTREET sessions hosted by Missy Monoxide, and like you have to walk as if like you are like, you know, whoever you're looking up to. You know what I'm saying? Because the truth is you're competing against those
Am
people.
I Ricky Lake? No,
but you're and this is funny because I took like a class, like a Spotify does these master classes, and you get to like hear from like other artists and other producers and stuff. And they were like, when you put out your music, and I feel like this is good in any creative field, but you're not competing with the other guy with 1,000 followers like you. You're competing with Bad Bunny. You're competing with Drake, because when someone clicks play on something, they're not thinking, am I going to pick these small artists or am I going to play this Drake banger from 2016? No, like they're making the active decision to give you their attention. So with that, as overwhelming as that can feel, I feel like you just need to like, not even you need to, and you'll grow into it, but just be confident, because you are a great podcaster, and this has been like a cool like
thank you
showing that off.
Yeah, and like I really appreciate that feedback and that advice, because like going back to like when you said you starting out, it's fucking terrifying. Facts. Like I've been dreading this moment for 2 years, so I don't know, I think you inspired me to just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. And then when you agreed to be my guest, I was like, shit.
Heck yeah.
And then
this is DTXSTREET.
No.
Let's put some respect on DTXSTREET. DTXSTREET has been the voice of creativity in Dallas, Texas. It wouldn't exist, the community that exists in Dallas right now, if it wasn't for this woman and the man behind the camera. Okay? So, yeah, damn. Sorry. I just had to say that. Because DTXSTREET really inspired literally that guy who hate messaged you wouldn't be doing what he's doing right now if it wasn't for you. So, hell man,
that guy.
Fuck that guy.
I can't even hate him though.
No, I hate him. No. I'll hate him for you. You can love him. I'll hate him.
I don't love him, but I do hope he's like, I hope he's good. Because like also to be in the mental space, to have that type of energy to try to bring someone down, I feel like they're hurting too. Because they say hurt people. So I don't know if it's like the cancer in me, but now I'm actually like, where are you? And are you okay? Like, is there anything I can do to change your viewpoint about me? Like,
I hope he steps on 20 Legos.
I feel like he's already stepped on the Legos to have that. Like, I know it seems weird, but like now that I legit hope that person is good. Like, I really do hope they're good, and I hope they're in a better place now where they can be happy for other people. And like, damn, like I really thought I'd be saltier about it, but like I said, I'm a weirdo. Like, I tend to empathize with even like the haters, and I just, are you okay? Like, please.
she about to text me.
I'm like, can you message me again? Just let me know. Like,
let me be your therapist.
Because I'm a little concerned. Don't message tags, because
message me.
I think he's a little mad for me. So
message me. I will send you a GIF of Legos.
But they're signed.
You'll know what it means.
Love tags.
And knowing the nature of this person, they probably have watched this whole thing just to hate on you, which is hilarious. You just gave her a view.
But listen.
Retention, important.
Please, like, I just want you to be okay. Like, I really do hope you're watching, and I really do hope you're okay. I don't even mean that sarcastically. I'm like 100. And if you're not okay, like, reach out. Like,
just not to me.
No, to me, yeah. Tell me what's up. I've been told I could be like a therapist.
You are good. I came over the other day and we had like whole ass talk.
It was like sick. This like pre-session.
No cap.
And he just, I was like, so what's going on, Tags?
And I was like, here it is. I have a full-blown therapist, but I'm going to vent to you anyways.
And like it was free. I'm free. Like, damn. Free therapy. You can't beat that. But like, thank you so much, dude. Like, this has been great.
I love it.
And thank you, High Viz, for your excellent production skills.
Wow, look at this. It's amazing.